Hello everybody, welcome back to another Various Oddities showcase. Now, I did mention in the last video that we are currently heavily deep into trying to get this mod up into 114, where there is surprisingly, less than a seventh of the diversity in mods available in 114, so hey, every little bit helps. Now that does mean that I'm not doing very much in the way of additions to 112 versions right now, because it'll just be code that we then have to update to 114 and then just shoehorn everything back in, presuming it even works. So, consequently, I don't have a whole lot to show you this week. That said, I do in fact have things to show you, and the things I have to show you are a little bit strange, but very, very fun nonetheless. So, added for the low cost of 2 entire classes, free including the renderer that makes it look shiny and funky, here we have the Disembodied Heart. This is our very first artifact. Artifacts are top-tier magic items that you cannot craft. They can only be acquired through special circumstances, and they are not included in loot. So, pretty much these are items you can only get inside of adventure maps, or maybe if somebody's tinkering with a resource pack. And this particular item is a direct connection to your most valuable possession, namely your heart. So, this object, obviously, as you can tell, has an animated texture and a shiny sheen, and it's also very heavily drawn visually in reference to the redstone heart of Minecraft story mode. Rip in peace. And if we place it, we can see it's got a very nice little effect there. It wiggles around, it rotates, and it beats quite a bit. And these are also bound to whomever has placed them. If you somehow get your hands on 2 of these and you try to place a new one, the old one will break, and the new one will go down. Now that's about the only situation where you should actually break these, because if you break your own, or indeed if anything destroys the block that is your heart, you will die immediately, of over 1,000 points of magic damage. Which I guess technically speaking, since this mod does include a magic resistance, you probably could theoretically survive under certain circumstances, but by and large, that will kill you. Another point of note is that if we die, it will also break. So, point of note, there you have it. And you might wonder, what on earth is the benefit of having essentially a kill button for yourself out in the world? Well, it's quite significant, actually. So, the first thing is that this functions like a chunk loader. It loads a 3x3 area around itself, and that means that it always knows where it is, and it always knows what you're up to, presuming you're on the world at all. If you log out of a server, this will keep going. So, the first thing that you can use this for is as a heart sensor, essentially. So here we have your actual health being read out as a percentile. So if we just take this as far as it will go, which is about there, okay. And then I go to game mode 0 and I actually take some damage. So let's just TP me, say, 20 blocks up. Why not? I will take a bunch of damage, and the reading will go down. It will then continue to tick back up as I regain health, which is handy for various reasons, I'm sure. But also, you need to, this is a decent way of telling if you're actually still alive. If you die, and this is, if you die, this will destroy itself. If you just log off, the block is still here, it'll just read 0. So, there's a handy little thing for you, right there. Now, the next thing requires me to once again be in creative mode, which is that this is a direct connection to your bloodstream, which means that you can pour potions directly into it and actually have them added to your person. So, case in point, let me grab, say, a hopper, just a very simple hopper, and let's go with a speed potion, because Lord knows I love me some speed potions. So let's go with the 2. It will only accept vanilla basic potions. It will not accept splash or lingering or anything else. But if we do this, then it gives us a little heart effect, and I now have speed. And if I put another speed potion in there, especially if it's of the same kind, then it will just wait. Now it is worth noting, it does have an empty glass bottle in there, as would be left behind if you yourself were to actually drink the potion, so you need something underneath it to grab that out. You can extract it from any side. It's not sided in any particularly meaningful fashion, but it will allow you to actually do that. And it will actually wait to put this speed 2 potion on me until this runs out. So it will actually save your potions, should you actually happen to have a need to feed a whole ton of them into you at one point. where this really gets incredibly kind of busted is that because it waits to apply these, you can just stack up a whole chain of hoppers full of, say, healing potions, and it will then apply them as and when you require them. So let's just plonk this there, and here we have a chest that's full of healing potions. If we just dunk that there they are. We can see it is now applying them until I actually have full health once again, and it is then stopped trying to apply any more. So if I go back to game mode 0 and I TP myself up 20 blocks again, we will see my health has already been restored. Now, obviously, it's not 100% efficient. It's not going to wait for you to be the exact amount of health for you to actually be restored up to full, but it will nonetheless heal you back up to full, and it gives us a nice little shiny particle effect there every time it does. It will apply a potion to you once per second at most. That is significantly, nonetheless, way faster than you can apply them yourself. It is, nonetheless, a little bit of a delay, so there's that. But as long as you don't die outright, the heart can pick you up right happily. And if you happen to have an auto brewer situation, which is obviously something I would do very easily, you will just have a whole bunch of potions applied to you, and they don't even need to be the ones you find in a beacon, which is pretty sweet. Now, there is maybe one thing I should mention, which is that whilst we could break this, and we will die pretty much immediately, no questions asked, there's a much more insidious thing that somebody can do if they somehow gain access to your heart. Which is, if they happen to have a poison potion or an instant harming potion, these can also be delivered through this. So, yeah. There's that, and obviously it's got health potions in, so it's just bleeding through those, but, yeah, that's something to be considered about, just as a note. Are we done? We're nearly done. There we go. Okay. So yeah, now point of note, this is intended pretty much exclusively for players. That said, the value inside of it actually doesn't care what kind of entity the owner is. You can, for instance, if you are particularly savvy with changing Talenti NBT data, you can target this at a specific entity, which then theoretically allows you to keep, say, the quest giver in your town hall still alive, regardless of what happens, that kind of thing. And it is intelligent with regards to whether or not you have enough health. If you're undead, for instance, when you normally would take damage from an instant harming potion, it will actually heal you, so it is smart enough to bear that in mind. And as I say, you cannot craft these. These are not in loot tables in any fashion. Nothing drops these. But you might find them in an adventure map or something. And they might also be under very specific kind of context applied to certain bosses. So, hey, there's that. Maybe you'll find these in terrain if you go searching far enough. Disclaimer, you won't, because I haven't programmed that, because this was really easy to add, and I'm surprised it didn't exist already, but I haven't actually programmed this to appear anywhere. Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, so that is the Disembodied Heart. You can think of it almost as a companion to Random Things' player interface. And it's pretty sweet. Catch it in the next beta. And I'll catch you next time.